Hey everybody, so I was going to make a video. I got a really bad migraine, but I am a huge fan of Shane Dawson, and I will get into it later how big of a fan I am of his, but if I could give him any advice right now, it would be to cut a bunch of people out of his flow of, like when they first started the podcast out, it was so great, it was so amazing. He had his brother on there, he had his husband on there, he had Chris on there, and then they added another guy, and I'm terrible with names, but he's awesome too. But it got to a point where they were throwing in like Morgan, they were throwing in the parents, they were throwing in Ryland's, I even watched the SIP just to support Ryland. Lizzie doesn't really click with me. She has a cool audience, though I know she does, so I'm not smashing on or hurting on anybody, but when people start wanting all these Patreons, and then y'all make content, and you're like, hey, we're not going to tell you about it unless you join our content, it's kind of like, what? Like, we've been here the whole time. We were here when you were canceled. So now us long-term members that are not hating on you, that I don't mind, and I love, like, they have the two houses, they had the one in Colorado. They probably should have kept it that way, because the content for the next 4 years would have been the podcast show with the guys, all the gay and straight dudes in there. It was awesome. It was really hilarious, and they should have kept that, because in the next 4 years, that's going to be the kind of content that it's going to work. And if you really want to make great money, that would have been the way to do it, and keep out all the extra people. There's nothing wrong having people come on your podcast, but some people, I think, leech off of Shane Dawson and make it seem like their world is so important to his, and I just don't see it like that. And we get overwhelmed with everybody being involved. Like, this person has a YouTube now, this person has a Patreon here, this person, Morgan has one. I've always thought Morgan was so boring. I'm sorry, but it's true. And I know they all have their own fans, and that's cool. But when you find that there's really only one artist in the middle of it all, and that really is the biggest, is Shane Dawson. We're there because we like him and we love his content, and he's hilarious. So I'm not meaning to shame or smash. I know it sounds terrible what I'm saying, but it's really truthful. If you go watch it, What the Hell Ever This Is podcast, when it first started, y'all, it was epic. And then all its conspiracy, great. But when you start adding 20, 30 people, I know that's exaggeration, but you get what I'm saying? You got all these people added in there. It's just overwhelming. And none of us can afford to pay all those Patreons. That's over our electric bill. Like, literally, we're trying to eat people.